got hit by a car. No.
No,
but God still had me because I
you.
got up immediately. I was fine. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Glow Podcast, where we glow and grow in this household. Okay. Today, we have a very special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Shamar Rice, a.k.a. He Spoke, a.k.a. Run with Shamar, period.
Yes, Run with Shamar. It's so exciting to meet you in person. I follow Shamar on his socials, and I follow his journey. And I love that we get to do that because I think it's so important to stay connected with artists around you. And so following his journey, I just knew that we had to have him on here and get to the gritty of everything. So I'm excited.
So,
you have a question?
You're from Baltimore, likewise, like me. And,
period.
I want to know, how has growing up in Baltimore influenced your art?
That's a great question. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. Well, multiple rough neighborhoods, and in every neighborhood, even though it was rough, everybody was talented. Whether it was dancing, singing, not acting, but like just music, like instruments. You know, I've never been around a neighborhood where it was just all dance. You know, it's specifically like my genre of dance. That actually inspired me to actually want to be in the artist world. So, that's what inspired me.
No, I love that. I think it's important to find hope and community in parts that don't feel very, very welcoming. I love that was how that pulled you into there. That despite everything that was going on around you, you had a beacon of light.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's beautiful.
How has it changed your perspective?
My city, like, they shine light on pretty much all of the bad, and they don't really give enough credit to the things that happen as positive. It changed my perspective because there's a scene within my city, Baltimore, called the Baltimore club scene, and although like it has its negative aspects, like everybody has a lot of accolades, and there's a lot of room for everybody to grow as artists, no matter if you're a dancer or a singer or actor. Like, you can all come, like, we can all come together down there. So like, they've always made a positive impact within Baltimore, and we've always been on the news, you know, and they show the positive side. You know what I'm saying? It's specifically for the people who grew up in the bad neighborhoods, because everybody that's within that scene all come from bad parts of Baltimore, but they come to this specific scene for an outlet, you know, whether if you went through a lot growing up. For me, dancing, I did go through a lot. So like, if I feel a certain way, like, I would just go down there to the studio or wherever and link up with friends or just associates, and we would dance, and I would just like get out what I'm feeling. You know what I'm, that like changed my perspective, like, on the outlook of like Baltimore, like, and how they portray our city to be, because it's not just bad. Like, I really think it's 50-50, you know what I'm saying? Pretty much like everywhere else. So
I've been following some of your journey online, and I've seen that you went through a certain schooling process. Can you talk to us more about that? I found it super inspirational. And how old are you?
I'm 23 years old.
23 years old. And you're doing beautiful things. And you are 23 years old, and you are here doing, you know, your dream, and you're making it into a reality, and that's the whole point. So talk to us a little about your schooling journey, what that was like, and the hardships with it, and also the positives. What was all of that like?
This is gonna be a long story, y'all.
That's okay.
So my dream was to actually just come to LA and live out my dream of being an actor, you know. And I have an agent and a manager.
Okay.
So I before coming out here, I already had everything that I needed, right?
That's amazing.
To prosper here and to just, like, I guess, soar, you know. But it was expensive here, and it still is, you know. And my parents couldn't afford it. Obviously, like, I couldn't. So when I came out here 2 years ago, I met with my manager, and he was just like, and we were riding past AMDA, but I said, I really want to be out here. And he was like, the quickest way to get out here is to go to college. And I'm like, okay, cool. And mind you, at this point, like, I didn't have a high school diploma or a GED. So he said, just get your GED, you know, and then apply to AMDA. And he had a connect here, and he said he would, like, you know, put a word in for me.
Wow.
So I went back home. My head was just going straight about getting into GED classes. And I literally applied, you know, for a community college, you know, to get my GED. And I think it was like a little waiting process. It was probably like 2 weeks, and they got back to me, right? So then I remember going, I was literally about to take the test, and my apartment complex, they emailed me a mailing letter about an adult high school, y'all. And I mean, I'm happy, I'm excited, and I'm like, dang, an adult high school to get my actual high school diploma.
Okay.
Not a GED, the actual high school
Yeah,
diploma.
you just,
Yeah. And so I remember like canceling the GED, and I signed up for the high school program, and then 2 weeks later for that, I think I waited 3 weeks actually, and they gave me an orientation date. Orientation date came, I went, did that. I had to take a placement test, and I think the next week they sent me my schedule for high school. And this was September the 28th or 27th that, you know, it's my first day of school officially, right? So 3 days before that, I got accepted into AMDA.
Wow.
Yes. So I auditioned for AMDA a month before I got any of this, the GED.
Yeah.
And then that's when, you know, I got the acceptance letter. And mind you, I literally woke up and I checked my notifications, and I'm just like I doubled back. Got up screaming, you know. I went to school. I did not just go just for my high school diploma. Like, I'm like, dang, I got AMDA now, so now I have to finish this program. Literally 2 or 3 weeks after I graduated, I had to fly out here to school. And my dad, like, right now, like, he's doing his big one, you know, like, he's the only person in the family that is really working at a job where he can actually support me here. And he's giving me his all for me to be here. So, like, I have to do what I have to do. And also, my purpose to be here is to make sure I do what I gotta do, and that's to graduate here, and that's to be a successful actor. And it's not an overnight thing. Like, we all know this, y'all. It's not overnight. It's not. I also want to inspire people and impact people.
Well, you're inspiring me just with this story.
So that's pretty much how I got here, literally in a nutshell. But we're here. Shout out to your family for that. Absolutely. Shout out to Dad and Mom.
Yes,
thank y'all.
That's amazing. I don't know. There's always a misconception around being poor, not having the funds, or not coming from a lot. But you know what? You are coming from a lot. You're coming from a lot of love, and come on, you're coming from a lot of love and faith, and the fact that, you know, obviously your family has instilled this passion inside of your bones. You know what I'm saying? So it's the fact that you still have all of that, no matter everything that you've gone through, and you're still here at this point, you should be so proud.
I am.
You should be so proud, and they should be so proud, and more power to you guys. Was there any point that you thought that you couldn't do it? And if there was, what was it that got you through that?
For the high school, I was supposed to graduate in June this year, but it got pushed to September because the diplomas weren't going to be you know, delivered to the school on time. When I found out that I wasn't going to be able to graduate in June, everything in my body just like everything, I just felt like I wanted to collapse. I talked with my school about it, but it was literally nothing that they could do. So I cried and cried and cried, and still nothing happened. But at the end of the day, I set intentions to still just get through the whole 3 months. I wasn't going to be able to walk the stage. I was just going to be able to just get my certificate and then wait until my diploma come and then graduate next year and walk across the stage. But God works in mysterious ways.
Talk about it.
So
true.
I was able to walk across the stage because the diplomas came on time. I remember getting interviewed by WBAL.
Come on, WBAL.
And they specifically handpicked me. So, like, you're Shamar Rice? Yes. Like, would you like an interview? Yes, of course. And so we were in the graduation room with all of the parents and everybody. And I know one thing they asked me was, what, in one word, like, what have the school semester been for you? And I said, eye-opening. Because no matter what, it was wins, it was losses, but it opened my eyes to more than just wanting to graduate. It taught me patience. Yo,
patience is real.
I never finished high school. I dropped out 3 times. 3 times, 9th, 10th, and 11th. And I never went back because of my patience and because I was getting bullied too. And because it was like a rough environment. I don't like conflict. I understand like quiet places. Peace. And so being at that school with adults over 23, aging to 60 years old, everybody like had their own type of crowd, and my crowd was just mellow. You know, I was chilling. And as far as AMDA, my dad, he was late on payments, and they told me that if I don't have the payment in by a certain time, then I was gonna get waitlisted. And so that hurt me because I worked really hard to get, in high school, literally passing everything, and for my dad to have this, I guess
like a time limit set on him.
He put a strain on me because it's like he had the money, but it's like he wanted to just wait and wait and wait. That like put my future at risk because you know how hard I worked to get here. Like my stepmom, she had said something to me as well. She told me that, I might as well just get put on a wait list. And I'm just like, well, you know how bad I worked to get here for this moment. It like crushed me, So like that made a strain in me and her relationship because I care deeply about my craft.
Yeah, you just want to feel like everything that you've done isn't just going to be taken away from you. That's hard, you know, especially because it takes a lot to get here. And to continue to be here, you gotta give it your 110% every day.
Absolutely.
So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
And congratulations on making it here and being able to be in this city now.
Absolutely.
So at the beginning, when you introduced yourself, you said AKA Run with Shamar.
Yes.
What is that about? Where did that come from?
Yeah, that's a good one.
What is it? I want to know. Run with Shamar. Come on. It
was like crafted as a hashtag 3 years ago, and I always put it on each post that I make because it's like my journey. If they're new to my journey, like they can click that and like look at everything that I've been through. Like because it's not all success within that hashtag. It's ups and it's downs there. Absolutely. Behind the scenes and just everything that I've just been doing because that's like somebody supporting me, like you're running with me to the top, my next destination wherever,
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Nate. Run
Period.
Oh, you're gonna run.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, why do I want to cry? I'm like feeling so emotional.
What are the themes and messages that you want to convey in your work and your artistry?
People to believe in themselves. Because a lot of people often want belief from other people for them to start believing in themselves. And also just to want to like work harder and do the work instead of just letting something fall in their lap. Because it can happen like that, but like you can't tell anybody about your journey if you just having everything set on your lap for you,
There's no story to tell.
Exactly.
I always say that if you don't have that faith in yourself, how can you expect someone else to have that if it's not in you first? Also, like giving up. Like you cannot give up. I feel like if you give up, then you're like you're letting go. And I think that it was a point I was trying to make with that. I don't even know. It's gone.
No, it's
but
okay, though. I understand.
Yeah,
I understand
something
too.
like that.
I actually wanted to give up too within being in high school because I felt like I did so much time there, and I poured into the community there. It was different people of different backgrounds there, and then it was like people that are above my age range, right? That inspired me because it's not just me, like, but other people. That's what made me want to promote the school even more because, like, if a 60-year-old can come here, then what is your excuse, right? And then, like, I got evicted too. Like in February this year, and just that eviction alone, like it like damaged me personally and my mom because we never had nowhere to go. And then my dad opened his doors for me to start over, and then I started going to school every day. It was more frequent. The people at that school that were older than me, like, they looked up to me. Yo. Every time I went into the school, they always said something to me. And then my poster is on the wall too. So like, they always look up there for inspiration. So it's like they're looking up to me. I can't give up.
I remember my point I was trying to make. Your thing is wrong with Shamar.
Yeah.
And I think that you said that it shows the good and the bad.
Yeah.
And I think that people get so caught up in the bad sometimes that they forget about the good moments. But I think that the fact that you have that there as something to see, I think that that's beautiful, because it's important to see the people's low times and high moments, because especially when you look up to them as an artist, when it gets really hard and you feel like you want to give up, but you can see somebody else who was almost at that same breaking point, but they didn't let that get to them and let that stop them. That's how you have the story to tell. Yeah. By having the ups and downs and sticking it through.
Absolutely. Exactly. I don't like focusing on like my destination, because we don't know what that's gonna be. Exactly. You know, we could have a vision board, but at the end of the day, we don't know if that's gonna come into fruition. Something better than what we put on that vision board can come. I just like to worry about my journey, because what are you gonna tell people? You know, your kids or like your family or just like your supporters. You know,
you are multi-talented. Yes. I've seen that, and that's important to have as an artist, because you can branch out into so many different avenues. Talk to me about what was it that started your journey of being a performer, and how did you end up majoring in acting for camera?
Dancing is what did it for me. When I was 4 years old, my whole entire family was a dance group, excluding my dad and one of my brothers, and of course my grandma. I wanted to be a part, but being a little kid, they were doing like stunts, and my mom didn't want me around that because she didn't want me to get hurt. And so like every time like they would practice in the living room, she would send me upstairs because she didn't want me to get hurt. Fast forward to a year later, I was 5 years old. We're still like practicing, or they're still practicing in the living room, and my mom, she wanted me to go upstairs again, so I went upstairs. But my oldest brother Travis, he came upstairs and got me, because he vouched for me. Like, he said, just let him be here, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's good. And so I started practicing with them, and I officially became a part of the dance group. But it wasn't like, it was just a hobby at that time. I was a kid. And since then, I've performed with them at multiple shows and battled against other dance teams. And I remember I did a split on a stage, and I had put my thumb in my mouth, and I was like twerking. That's what got the crowd. And I just know, like, ever since then, I knew I was gonna love the limelight, y'all. So that's how I was introduced to like the arts as far as dancing. When they came to me coming to high school, now I'm a freshman, we had something called like talent show Fridays. I danced, and that's how I gained like, I guess, like a sort of a support base in my first year. And so I seen somebody else dancing the next week doing the style that I do, y'all. And so I'm like, oh my God, like, is this like God telling me something? So after he finished, I went up to him and I connected with him, and he connected me with his dance leader. I went the next week, y'all. I tried out and I got into the dance group. It was called Be More Than Dance, and I was training for like 2 weeks, and I went. They were scared for me to actually go because they didn't want me to get devoured. Like, these people are top dogs. So, but I didn't care. I wanted to be in the limelight. Like I said, I stood 10 toes, against all the top dogs, and I earned my respect that day. So that's how I got into dancing. As far as acting goes, I remember I had to be on out of commission for a year, y'all. And so I'm like, what can I do like on my spare time? And I just started looking up things as far as acting, like background work. A year like and a half later, I connected with this guy on Facebook, and he did like a short film, and he just gave me the role. And so I did that, and I started liking it ever since. Like, what the heck?
You were like, oh my God, what is this? I understand.
Period. So that's how I got into that, and I fell in love with acting, and it became my first love.
I know you probably can't talk about everything about it, but what can you tell us about what that was like and what you got to do? Because you've done some episodes on some things. Am I wrong? Or am I right?
No, you're right. I did a web series. It was called, and it was on YouTube. It was called Ties That Bind. And my character, he was somebody that wanted to get into the gang life, like with drugs, you know. And I had to audition for that through Zoom, and I didn't think I was gonna get it because I think I messed up on my lines, you know. But then she called me back. And she seen something in me. Thank you, Lorraine.
Yes.
Shout out to Lorraine.
Shout out to Lorraine.
And then I booked a co-star role, my first co-star, y'all, on Perry Mason. It's an HBO Max show.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, and I knew nothing about the show at all. I did my little research.
Yes, research is key. I always say research is so key.
And I auditioned for it, and I was homeless when I got this audition. I didn't have a haircut. My hair was a mess, and I didn't have no comb, no brush, nothing. And I did it, and the next week, my agent emailed me, and she said, Shamar, like, you're the top choice. Like, they're looking at you. And I'm just like, I'm excited. I'm like, hey, you know, but I'm homeless. I said, okay, cool. And then the next week, she was like, Shamar, like, they want you. Like, you booked it. Like, I need an LA address. And at that moment, I just knew I was about to let her down because I'm about to email her and say I can't do it. Like, for a co-star, you got to pay out of pocket to fly out. They don't do none of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they don't do none of that, y'all. So if you book a co-star, like, just know you have to have money in advance, you know, for your own hotel and travel. I hit up this girl on Facebook. Her name is Lauren Darlene, and she's been a supporter of mine. And I just wanted to vent to somebody about this because I never had no friends at that time that was in the industry. So I'm like, let me hit her up and tell her about the situation. I told her. And then she was just like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want you to go through that. And she was just like, hold on, let me call my mom and let me tell her. And so I said, okay. And then she hit me back on Messenger on Facebook, and she said my mom said call her. So I ended up calling her mom, and mind you, I'm on the bus stop at this point because I have to do something. And so I called her mom. She said, I want to send you this amount of money to get your flight ticket, and I want to get you some clothes, and I want you to stay over my house for 2 weeks until filming is over. And I was on the bus stop just like crying because I'm homeless. I don't have no money, and my dad is, I mean, his relationship is really strained at this point, so I'm not talking to him. And he wasn't gonna do it anyway because he already previously like got my head shots like 2 months before this happened, so it was just like not gonna happen. And so she sent me the money ASAP, and I booked my flight literally that same night, y'all. And and she allowed me to use her address. That changed my life forever because I don't know where I would have been if I didn't take that role, you know, or have her and her daughter in my corner. And shout out to you, Lauren Darlene. I love you.
Shout out, girl. Oh my God, and shout out to your mom. That's special to have.
And I'm here now.
Thank you for being so vulnerable to share that. Absolutely. And remember this, because this is so important. Even when you think that something isn't going correct, maybe, you know, you have a block in your soul, or like, you know, as they call it, writer's block, but it happens to actors and to all performers. You know, there's some sort of blockage that comes up. Don't think that's you disappointing yourself or your people or your community, or that you're failing. You don't fail until you decide to go home and call it quits because you can't do it anymore. As long as you do everything in your power to try every single day with as much percentage as you can give, because sometimes even if you're giving 50%, the fact that you're still giving something is important. Absolutely. So don't forget that. You're taking open dance classes.
Yes.
What's that been like?
Challenging. Oh my gosh, because I was never in that type of space before. I just always freestyle danced and dance like in my dance mentor's living room. You know, I've went to 2 dance classes in my life. As far as dance, maybe like people are, it's a lot of people that are in competition. And I see it. I don't say nothing. I just keep it moving. But like, you could see.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I love that.
You put it in your files.
Yeah, for sure.
I
have. That's the Baltimore thing. I didn't say nothing, but I clocked it.
Okay.
It must be a Texas thing too, or maybe it's just my Mandujano thing. But I find things in my and I put them in my files, and I'm like,
yeah. But nonetheless,
that's okay.
That's
amazing. Okay. But you know what? That means you're doing something right.
For sure.
Absolutely.
You're doing something right. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing, because if they're looking at you like you're a threat, then you are.
Period.
She is that.
And you are.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be a threat than anything else.
Okay.
But be kind. Stay kind.
Excellent.
Stay kind.
Absolutely. Period.
Stay humble. Stay kind. We love talking about faith on this channel.
Yeah.
I'm we're both very heavily believers in God. And
Yeah.
I know that you've talked a lot about God and staying true in your faith to get you to this point.
Yes.
What has that been like, sticking beside him and him sticking beside you?
Honestly, like, I haven't talked to God since I left my hometown. And my God, he knows what's up.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted to get closer to him. And it's something that's just stopping me from, like, wanting to do that. And I believe in God, right? It's not that I don't believe. It's just I do so much that I just feel like I don't even have time to pray. And that sounds like really crazy because, yes, I do have the time too, but I just never, like, put that energy to do that. Like, I always feel God behind me everywhere I go. Like, I'm protected everywhere. I want to get into learning about him more, you know, and I need to put that in my schedule, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know how you can be like walking down the street and then like you'll get home and then you'll see something on your phone like woman robbed on the street. I was like, I literally just
was down that
there.
street,
or like got hit by a car. And I'm like, I literally was just
I got hit by a car.
No,
but God still had me because
because
I got up immediately. I was fine. It was here, and I was. Oh my God, it's funny now. But in the moment, I was like shocked. You know what? Just a few days before that, I kept telling myself, God, I feel like I need to slow down. Like I feel like I'm moving so fast, and that slowed me down.
Sometimes
So
God
now,
will put you in places to get hit.
Okay, well, I think we're coming up on our last question, and it's my favorite question always, and it's what advice have you been given as an artist that has carried you through your journey? And what advice would you give to the next artist?
It's not that serious. Put in the work. Stay focused. And just never give up. That's been told to me in many different ways, being said to me. What I would give to the next artist, just keep going and find like little things to do to remind you that you are enough, you know, within the field that you're in. And this goes for anybody. It don't have to be in the arts field at all. And also just do your research. And IMDb Pro is your friend, y'all. If you want to know about anybody, just go on there and search up their name, see if they're credible.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank y'all for having me.
Yes, of course. Okay, well, we're heading out. We'll see you on the next one. And I hope that you grew, and I hope that you're glowing, and all of the above. All right, we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.